Député, the honourable member for Vancouver East.
The NDP strongly condemns the U.S. and Israeli bombardment of Iran and the devastating impacts on civilians, including the deaths of children at schools. This marks a dangerous and reckless escalation that risks plunging the entire region into catastrophic conflict with global consequences with no end game. Make no mistake, the oppressive regime in Iran and its human rights abuses and repression of its own people have been appalling, including reports of tens of thousands of killings during recent protests. The Iranian people deserve democracy, peace, and justice, and the future of Iran must be decided by Iranians themselves. But military strikes are not the answer. International law is clear under Article 51 of the UN Charter and the International Court of Justice. New Democrats oppose these attacks and call on the Prime Minister to condemn them and any complicity through arms exports and make it clear that Canada will not participate in.
The honourable member for Vaudreuil.
Speaker, it's hard to believe, but it's that time of year once again, and thanks to an army of volunteers led by Jay Deliterante, Ken Bell, Eileen McAleese, Lee DeRoche, and the entire team at the Soulange Irish Society, our community of Vaudreuil will become Irish for the day at the 15th annual St. Patrick's Day Parade in Hudson. This year, our Grand Marshal, renowned Canadian comedian Derek Seguin, will lead the parade. A parade, Mr. Speaker, that will feature our Irish Person of the Year, Jeffrey Kelly, Parade Queen Addie DeRoy, Princesses Kaylee McDonald and Lisa Wilson, and Reviewing Officer Rigaud's Mayor Charles Meunier. Comme toujours.
As always, this is an event you're not going to want to miss. So Saturday, March 21st at 1 p.m., you're all invited to Main Street to celebrate Irish culture and heritage. And let's make the 15th annual St. Patrick's Day Parade an event to remember. Slancha.
The honourable member for Sherwood Park, Fort Saskatchewan.
Imagine you are in a situation where you rely on public services that you are entitled to, and yet regularly when you try to access those services, instead of receiving the help you need, someone suggests that you die. Veterans calling Veterans Affairs Canada, people with disabilities seeking information about benefits, seniors, and people living in poverty. For them, accessing public services is now a minefield of bureaucrats suggesting that death might be a better option. These suggestions are traumatizing, and these suggestions are coercive. We must not accept this as normal. It is not normal. And that is why I put forward Bill C-260, the Care Not Coercion Act. This bill would prevent bureaucrats from proposing facilitated death to those who are not seeking it. Bill C-260, the Care Not Coercion Act, is a critical step towards protecting the rights of people to access public services without hearing a bureaucrat suggest that they die instead. Anyone interested can find out more about it and read the stories of where this has happened at carenotcoercion.com.
The honourable member for Compton Stansted. Mr. Speaker, I am truly proud of the many women in the Eastern Townships who are making a difference in many sectors in their communities. And in the context of International Women's Day, I would like to highlight the efforts of some of them. Annie Fauché, who is a municipal councillor in Sherbrooke. Annie is an accomplished entrepreneur who's become an elected official at the municipal level and continues to serve our community with remarkable courage as she faces cancer treatment. I'm also thinking about Chantal Ramsey in Haut-Saint-François, who accompanies our businesses with an exceptional commitment and with an incredible ability to find solutions. Caroline Sage, who is a great builder of tourism in the Eastern Townships and whose ideas have made our region renowned well beyond our borders. And Andriane Fizette, who's the owner of the Saint-Eddy Farm. She took over a farm and has made it a new place to discover agriculture. I thank them for their commitment and for the inspiration that they offer to young people.
The honourable member for Calgary Signal Hill.
Mr. Speaker, this month of March is Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month. Colorectal cancer is the second leading cause of cancer deaths in Canada, even though it's preventable and highly treatable when caught early. We must make a critical shift in our healthcare policy, lowering the standard screening age from 50 to 45 years for average risk Canadians. The medical evidence is clear. Early onset cases are rising, and catching this disease 5 years sooner will save Canadian lives. My own brother is a colon cancer survivor, and 8 years since a timely diagnosis and treatment, he is alive and well. Today, 3 cancer survivors, Melissa Groff, Michael Groves, and Jennifer Eppel, are here in Ottawa to advocate for policy change. Together, their voices turn statistics into stories and policy changes into hope. To all Canadians, please get screened for colorectal cancer. This simple step can save your life.
The Honourable Member for Alfred Bellin. Mr. Speaker, building a strong Canada means taking concrete actions to offer a roof over everyone's head. It's in this spirit that we're investing more than $6 million to support the construction of not 6, but 31 housing units as part of the Habitation Palerme project in my riding of Alfred Bellin. We have listened, and we are taking action to build more housing and to build it faster. Seniors, families, singles, and those who are living in vulnerable situations deserve safe, affordable housing, close to essential services. This project is part of our initiative to build housing more quickly. It's a federal program that's accelerating housing and making housing more affordable to meet the urgent needs in our communities. These investments offer stability, hope, and dignity to many households in our ridings. That's how we're building our future. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Central Newfoundland.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today to recognize the remarkable career of one of Newfoundland and Labrador's greatest athletes, Brad Gushue. Not only is he a gold medal and bronze medalist, he's also captured 6 prior titles, a world championship, 2 pan-continental championships, 2 world junior titles, and won the Grand Slam of curling 15 times. After more than 2 decades representing Newfoundland and Labrador and Canada with pride, Brad recently curled the final game of his extraordinary curling career. His leadership, dedication, and sportsmanship have inspired athletes right across our great nation. I ask all members to join me in congratulating Brad Gushue on an incredible career and thanking him for the pride he's brought to our country and extend to him best wishes for the next chapter of his life. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Willowdale.
I rise today to address the military situation in Iran. Once again, brinksmanship by the Ayatollahs has plunged Iran into war. Innocent Iranians are caught in the crossfires of a war they are neither responsible for and which is not of their making. After the trauma of witnessing the regime butcher tens of thousands of innocent protesters, Iranians are now contending with war. Let us hope that this will end swiftly and lead to the end of this odious regime. Iranians, Canadians, and the world want to see an end to 47 years of theocracy. However, civilians on the ground in Iran and their relatives in Canada can simultaneously fear the mullahs as well as bombs raining down from the skies. These are hopeful but perilous times. May the brave people of Iran finally experience what we take for granted in Canada, peace and freedom. In conclusion, if the honourable members know any Iranian Canadians in their ridings, it's a good time to check in.
The Honourable Member for Beauce. Mr. Speaker, this weekend the Beauce region was deeply shaken by a serious accident involving a bus carrying a group of young cadets. Tragically, a 13-year-old cadet, Xavier Landry, from Scott, lost his life. Several other young people were injured, some seriously. This tragedy has deeply affected the families, loved ones, and the entire community. It also affects the entire cadet family. In these difficult times, our thoughts are with the young boy's family, with the injured young people, as well as all the cadets, officers, and instructors affected by this tragedy. I would like to highlight the remarkable work of the first responders, police officers, firefighters, and medical personnel who responded so quickly. On behalf of the people of Beauce, I offer my sincere condolences to the family of Xavier, to the young cadets, their loved ones, and the entire Beauce community. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member for Bow River.
Mr. Speaker, Canadians cannot control what happens overseas, but we can control the policies here that are making life less affordable. Right now, higher oil prices should be a huge opportunity for Canada. We are blessed with the fourth largest oil reserves in the world, and our allies are asking for reliable energy. Instead of Canadians getting resources to market, the Liberals keep putting up roadblocks and excuses. They have not approved a single new pipeline to Tidewater, and the much-touted Major Projects Office was supposed to speed things up, hasn't approved a single project. Maybe if a pipeline had Liberal insiders connected to it, like a certain wind farm in Nova Scotia or even Brookfield, the government would actually care about getting it built. The Liberals' industrial carbon tax is driving investment out of Canada, and to make matters worse, they are raising the tax. Canadian Natural Resources recently paused an $8.25 billion project in Alberta because of these destructive Liberal policies. Canada should be powering our economy, supplying energy to our allies. So why won't the Liberals get out of the way and scrap these The
honourable member for Avalon.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today to pay tribute to an exceptional Canadian athlete, Liam Hickey from Newfoundland and Labrador, who is proudly representing our nation as a member of the Canadian para-ice hockey team at Paralympics in Milan, Italy. Mr. Hickey has long demonstrated exceptional dedication to sport and his community. His achievements on the world stage are remarkable. He has represented Canada at both the summer and winter Paralympic Games, earned multiple medals at World Championships, and earned second and 2 Paralympic silver medals. He continued excellence is a testament to skills and unwavering commitment to sport. Yesterday, Team Canada celebrated its first victory of the Games with assistant captain Hickey contributing significantly with a goal and 2 assists. This performance reflects not only his athletic ability, but his leadership and determination. Mr. Speaker, Liam Hickey is an inspiration to athletes across Newfoundland and Labrador.
The honourable member for Saskatoon West.
Mr. Speaker, under this Liberal government, foreign conflicts are spilling into Canadian streets, and Jewish Canadians are paying the price. Just last week, 3 synagogues were damaged by gunfire. It's not really surprising, since Liberal immigration policies approve some asylum claims without even talking to the claimant. After the fact, some are found to be foreign agents that should be deported. Yesterday at Immigration Committee, the government said they couldn't deport IRGC regime officials for several reasons. First excuse, the Liberals protected their right to claim asylum. Second excuse, there are currently no flights to Iran. Third excuse, the IRGC regime officials' privacy is more important than the safety of Canadians. Ridiculous. Our immigration system is broken and Canadians are fed up. The reality is, this Liberal immigration minister has failed to protect our borders while hundreds of IRGC agents safely reside in Canada. She's allowing bad actors into Canada and doing nothing to stop them from terrorizing Canadians. Why does the immigration minister still have her job after failing Canadians so badly?
Hear, hear.
The honourable member for La Prairie at Tadican. Mr. Speaker, the AAA midget hockey team, the Riverains at the Collège Charles Lemoine in Sainte Catherine, once again demonstrated its strength this season. They're champions in my riding. In La Prairie Attican, they climbed to the top of their division standings before entering the playoffs. I'm impressed by their discipline and dedication. Players have to juggle rigorous training schedules with homework, as well as 42 games played across Quebec with school days afterwards. And the young people cope with this demanding schedule, which is reflected in the exceptional quality of their play and their academic excellence. And behind this success is a remarkable leader, their head coach, Olivier Latendresse, and David Crowder, their DG, whose work rigor and team spirit inspired the entire team. They're now in the playoffs, and for having seen how well they play, I can say that this is top-level hockey. So best of luck to the Riverains tonight and through the playoffs. The Honourable Member for Shefford. Mr. Speaker, for 10 years, Quebec students have been working to bring about concrete and lasting improvements in the living and studying conditions of thousands of Quebecers. This is the Quebec Student Union. It's a national association representing 15 member university associations. Their commitment to the next generation of university research and to improving the living conditions of academics deserves to be commended. They make an essential contribution, paving the way forward for Quebec's scientific development in the future. With scientific and technological developments advancing at breakneck speed, more than ever, we need partners like the Student Union to remind us of the conditions that we need for innovation and research to prosper. That's exactly what they're doing. The pressure that they're putting on various levels of government is further evidence of their firm commitment to stimulating the engagement of a new generation of researchers and academics in Quebec. On behalf of the Bloc Québécois, I wish long life to the Quebec Student Union and best of success in all of your endeavours.
The Honourable Member for Halifax.
Mr. Speaker, on the heels of Black History Month, I'm honoured to recognize and celebrate the incredible contributions of the African Nova Scotian community. Halifax is home to a somber history of racism that must not be forgotten, and reconciliation must be an ongoing effort. The Africville Museum is ensuring that this happens by sharing their history, celebrating their achievements, and advocating for change. The African Nova Scotian road to economic prosperity is driving the course to practical reparations for this community. The African Nova Scotian Justice Institute provides free legal services and guidance to African Nova Scotians, and New Roots Community Land Trust is advocating for investment into community infrastructure targeted at displaced African Nova Scotian communities. And many other community members are driving important change. Today in Ottawa, I want to recognize these incredible, impassioned organizations that are doing such important work. It's not going unnoticed, and it deserves to be celebrated. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Middlesex London.
Affordability of goods and services in Canada is the #1 concern for Canadians. We cannot control what happens abroad, but the Liberals control the policies that are making life more expensive here at home. We have the worst food price inflation in the G7 and the only shrinking economy. The Prime Minister is ramming through his newly renamed carbon tax, the Clean Fuel Standard, hammering farmers, fishermen, and every family buying food. Add the industrial carbon tax on steel, aluminum, plastic, and farm equipment. These costs are made here in Canada, not abroad. As Tom from London told me, the price of a pack of 8 burgers jumped from $15 to $18.50. That is 23% in weeks. Dolores from Strathroy said it plainly. The Prime Minister has no clue how the average Canadian lives. And Bill from Fallowfield warned we're heading for a countrywide recession. When will the Liberals accept responsibility and remove the policies that are crushing Canadian families?
The Honourable Member for Dorval, Lachine, LaSalle.
Mr. Speaker, International Women's Day is a moment to recognize the leadership, resilience, and contributions of women across Canada. Yeah. Women strengthen our communities, drive innovation, and shape a more inclusive future. And when women succeed, everyone benefits. That's right. The Women's Program supports projects that break down systemic barriers to economic equality and leadership. C'est pourquoi notre gouvernement.
That's why our government is investing in women's economic participation. That's why we're advancing affordable childcare, and why we're supporting women entrepreneurs and removing barriers to leadership and opportunity.
Women entrepreneurship strategy has helped over 490,000 women start, scale, and grow businesses. Supports include access to capital, mentorship, skills training, and business networks.
As we mark International Women's Day, we celebrate the progress that's been made. We acknowledge the work that remains to be done, and we reaffirm our commitment to advancing equality so that every woman and girl has the opportunity to thrive.
Oral questions, questions orales. The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
On a toujours eu.
There have always been wars in the Middle East, and we can't control those things. But here, at home, we didn't have these problems. People would keep these problems at home. After 10 years of out-of-control Liberal policies on the border, on law and order. They've allowed criminals, terrorists, and illegal weapons to enter this country. And criminals are on our street. Now there are shootings at synagogues, Iranian dissidents being killed, other shootings. 700 regime agents are here. What will the Prime Minister do to restore safety in this country? The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Monsieur le Président.
Mr. Speaker, the government deplores the shootings on synagogues in Toronto at the American consulate. This is one of the reasons why the government is vigilant with respect to terrorists. The Revolutionary Guard are registered as a terrorist entity.
Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
But the Liberal Prime Minister allows these terrorists to stay in the country, is not deporting them. We need to be safe here and affordable, have an affordable life. And before this war, the Prime Minister, this Liberal Prime Minister, delivered the worst food inflation in the G7. Inflation that has caused an increase in the cost of food higher than in other countries. It has to do with his own inflationary taxes and policies. Will he undo these inflationary taxes and policies so that Canadians can afford groceries? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, the government is taking action against the Revolutionary Guard Corps. There are 10,000 people who are disallowed from this country. We are taking action with respect to Canadians' spending power. We've reduced taxes for Canadians. We've increased benefits, food benefits. We have provided daycare to Canadian families.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
There have always been wars in the Middle East, but never before did those wars spill onto our streets here in Canada. But after 10 years of Liberal immigration, Liberal open borders, they have allowed criminals, terrorists, illegal guns to enter our country. After 10 years of Liberal catch and release laws that the Prime Minister has not changed one word on, we have criminals released on our streets, and now our synagogues are being shot. Iranian dissidents killed on our streets, and there are 700 IRGC terrorist agents on our streets. What will the Prime Minister do to restore the safety that Canadians had before his Liberal government took office?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, we got to go quick here. C-14 changes the bail laws. He might want to read it, definitely wants to support it. That member opposite has voted against every single gun control measure ever put before this House. This government has banned the Islamic Guard. This government's sanctioned over 200 individuals, over 200 Iranian entities. This government is investigating over 17,000 individual cases. We are protecting this country with 1,000 more RCMP, 1,000 more guards.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
What I voted against was a Liberal approach that has doubled gun crime by wasting billions going after duck hunters, farmers, and legal sport shooters. The Prime Minister is more worried about protecting turkeys from hunters than he is about protecting synagogues from terrorists, Mr. Speaker. That's the real problem. He's got 700 IRGC terrorists in this country. It doesn't matter if they're banned. If they're on our streets, they are a danger. They are shooting up synagogues, killing dissidents, and threatening our people. Will he reverse the Liberal agenda that unleashed this violence on our streets?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, we, on this side of the House, we want to protect synagogues. We want to protect community centers. We want to protect places of worship, which is why C9 is before this House today. I challenge the member opposite to put his votes behind his word to protect the Jewish community to protect communities of faith across this country.
Hear, hear.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, his solution to synagogues being shot up is to ban sections of the Jewish Torah. Mr. Speaker, that is not our solution on this side of the House. And that's according to his own immigration minister, his own heritage minister. We need to be safe at home. We need to be affordable at home. But even before this war broke out and raised gas prices, this Prime Minister doubled food price inflation and gave us the worst grocery price increases in all of the G7. So excuses about global impacts are not going to work. Will the Prime Minister reverse his new taxes on food, fuel, farmers, and fertilizer so Canadians can afford to eat?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I would suggest that the member opposite read the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, which protects the Torah, which protects the Bible, which protects freedom of expression. This House should not be otherwise informed by possible misrepresentation. We should follow the true word that protects all Canadians.
Hear, hear. The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, the question was about food prices. This Prime Minister said he would be judged by the prices at the grocery store. Since he took office, food price inflation has doubled. And this Prime Minister has introduced new taxes that increase the fuel prices of the farmers that feed us. Now, 2.2 million people are lined up at food banks and faced with even worse fuel costs today. So will the Prime Minister the Liberal Prime Minister reverse his latest Liberal tax so that Canadians can afford to eat?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, it feels like Groundhog Day. I'm once again required to remind the member opposite that the impact of the industrial carbon tax on fuel prices is approximately zero. The impact, though, of our trade deals on the farmers in his constituency is absolutely enormous. It is almost planting season, and the farmers of Alberta, Battle River, Crowfoot can plant canola.
The Honourable Member for Belleuil-Chambly. Mr. Speaker, we have big news here in Parliament. Put on your Sunday best. If you look at the Prime Minister's circumnavigating the globe like Marco Polo, he seems to be his own Foreign Affairs Minister. Unfortunately, this minister is not being excessively clear. In fact, yesterday was an extraordinary opportunity for him to explain to Parliament, following his own invitation, what his own policies are. When will he explain his strategic vision for the Middle East? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, thank you for this opportunity. Canada's policy is clear. Canada supports the necessity of preventing Iran's nuclear program and exporting of any terrorism. Canada is not participating in the offensive operations of Israel and the United States and will not, ever. The Honourable Member for Belleuil-Chambly. If it is clear, it will be news. Mr. Speaker, Canada is militarily a small player and in the middle tranche and is the most isolated, and apparently no one seems to understand Canada's position. Has he spoken to our allies in Europe, and what have they agreed to as to a common position? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, I just had a conversation with Mr. Macron, the president of the G7. I had a conversation with the Prime Minister of Japan. A meeting, in fact. I had a conversation with the President of the United States. Those are three members of the G7. I'm the fourth. I will be having a meeting with Mr. Starmer, 5. And then, Madame Meloni, yes, we will find a common agreement among the G7 countries. We will do that. And we will have a de-escalation. The Honourable Member for Belleuil-Chambly. I should have specified together with convergence, and I think we're going to make some major changes to geography for the U.S. to be part of Europe. Does the Prime Minister intend to propose any short-term measures to support those people who are directly suffering and will continue to further suffer from this war? I'm talking about inflation, buying power, retirees, access to property for young families. I'm referring, in fact, to all of these things that are not being solved or won't be solved in Norway over 5 years, but right now, right here, for citizens in Quebec and Canada. The Right Honourable Prime Minister, Mr. Speaker, the best option is de-escalation, is to have peace. That is the reason why I have conversations with other members of the G7, members of the Middle East, like Qatar, Oman, the UAE, the Prime Minister of Lebanon. And fourth point, we need to use the G7's oil reserves.
Honourable Member for Chilliwack Hope.
Canadians are struggling to make ends meet. Record food bank usage, personal bankruptcy rates, and an increasing number of Canadians borrowing money to buy food are proof of that. While there are some things that are outside of our control, there are things that this government does control, like their new fuel tax, which is already raising the price of gas by 7 cents a litre and is set to climb up to 17 cents a litre, raising the cost of everything that Canadians buy. So when will the Liberals finally take responsible for their reckless policies and stop making life more expensive for Canadians?
The Honourable Minister of the Environment and Climate Change.
Let's be clear. Studies show that the impact of the industrial carbon price on food is zero. The clean fuel regulations do not impose a price at the pump. But what they do is create an impressive economy for our canola farmers. He should speak to the leader of his organization, of his Conservative Party. There's a canola crush plant in his constituency. This Canada's largest renewable diesel facility is right on the edge of that riding. Canola farmers will see their price go up by $1.09 a bushel, according to the Biofuels Association.
The Honourable Member for Chilliwack Hope.
Well, every country in the G7 is facing external pressures, but this government stands alone in having created the worst food price inflation and the only shrinking economy in the G7. Instead of making life more affordable, the Liberals are making it worse with their higher fuel and carbon taxes that are raising the cost for farmers, fishers, and truckers, driving up the cost of everything for cash-strapped Canadians. So why don't the Liberals finally focus on what they can control and get rid of these harmful policies that are punishing Canadians?
The Honourable Minister of Energy and Natural Resources.
Mr. Speaker, let's talk about what we can control. Building cedar LNG, building wood fiber LNG, expanding Tilbury LNG, approving LNG Canada 2, approving Silicem, and approving the PRGT pipeline to the West Coast.
The Honourable Member for Tobique-Mactaquac.
Mr. Speaker, Canadians know we cannot control what happens abroad, but this government controls the policies here at home. Under this Liberal government, Canada now has the worst food price inflation in the G7 and the only shrinking economy in the G7. Our families, seniors, workers, and those who transport our food have no alternative but to use fuel. These costs are imposed here at home, not abroad. When will the Liberals end the era of self-sabotage and remove the policies that are driving up costs here at home?
The Honourable Minister of the Environment and Climate Change.
Mr. Speaker, they seem to like to repeat their question, so let me repeat the answer. Studies have shown the industrial carbon price does not increase the cost of food. The clean fuel regulations do not impose a price right at the pump. And if you want to be really clear, it creates an economic opportunity. I would think that they would like to see that. In fact, according to the Advanced Biofuels Canada Association, it will create or preserve an average farm revenue by $60,000. That should mean something to the members opposite.
The honourable member for Quebec-Marquette.
Mr. Speaker, tell that to the producers and farmers in Victoria, Carleton, and York counties in New Brunswick being hit by their newly renamed carbon tax, the Clean Fuel Standard, which adds 7 cents a litre. At the same time, the Liberals have raised the industrial carbon tax on steel, aluminum, and on farming equipment. All this is driving up costs for dairy, beef, and poultry producers in my region and throughout the country. These costs are imposed here at home. I ask again, when will the Liberals end their era of self-sabotage and remove the policies making life more expensive for all Canadians?
The Honourable Minister of Industry.
Mr. Speaker, there are a lot of things we can't control in the world, but many things we can control. And what we can control is definitely how we build one Canadian economy. Good news is the manufacturing PMI. So basically the manufacturing new business activity. My colleague referred to steel, aluminum, auto, etc., is at a 13-month high. That means that businesses are now having more orders, more jobs are created. The tariff has impacted us, but you know what? We have a good plan. We're bouncing back, and we'll fight for jobs.
The Honourable Member for Côte-du-Sud, Rivière-du-Loup, Katascomique, Témiscouata. Mr. Speaker, I've spoken to farmers in my riding, and they're fed up. They constantly have to pay more and more for inputs such as gas, fertilizer, and farm equipment. And all because of Liberal taxes like the carbon tax and this clean fuel tax. And meanwhile, grocery prices are rising for everyone, and bills are skyrocketing, and it's hurting every family's wallet. When will this Liberal government finally stop hammering those who keep our communities alive and get rid of this inflationary taxation? The Honourable Minister. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. To correct the facts that we hear over on the other side, it's not because you repeat something every day at question period that it means it's real. Based on all legitimate analyses, to make things clear, the influence of what he's referring to is zero. But there are some things we can control, some things we can't. But they should perhaps look at how they vote. They voted against a tax cut for 22 million Canadians, against other measures for children throughout the country, against the grocery benefit that will give families $1,800 per year this year. They should correct their own message and support the government. Stop. The Honourable Member for Richemont, Athabasca. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. QRAM software, cost overruns of $5 billion, and it doesn't work. The minister wanted examples of cases. I invite her to read Valérie Gamache's article in Radio-Canada this morning. Madame Derap, a resident of Gaspé, said, I made a call and the gentleman said, Madam, really sorry. I can't guarantee anything. It could take 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months, 6 months. We have no idea when our files will be up to date. Well, Mr. Speaker, if our entrepreneurs ran their businesses like the Liberals, they would all be bankrupt. Unfortunately, the Prime Minister's uninterested in this. The Honourable Minister, the QRAM software serves 7.7 million Canadians throughout this country. For OAS, the previous system, according to the Office of the Auditor General in 2014, said it was arriving at the end of its life cycle. Had we not made these changes, 7.7 million Canadians would be having some serious problems. Yes, there are urgent cases. My colleague, the Minister for Employment, is working hard at this. We want to make sure all Canadians receive their payments in a timely way. Mr. Speaker, I've been asking questions for a while now on these issues. There are still thousands of cases. In my own riding, Martial Lavoie, who's listening to us on a daily basis, he calls Service Canada to try to find out if there has been any progress on his application. But the days go by and there's this pre-recorded message and it says, please note that due to a problem with the self-service system, information on old age security pension recorded message and it says, please note that you have a problem with the self-service system, information on old age security pension payments are not available is not available?
There we go.
That's the message. Why should seniors pay the price for this IT and financial fiasco and pass on the $5 billion cost overruns to future generations? The Honourable Minister.
The member opposite has Monsieur Lavoie, who's experiencing such difficulties. Surely he knows that there is an MP hotline that he can use himself, or, as I've mentioned many times, he can certainly come to me and we will ensure that Mr. Lavoie gets his benefits urgently. As the member knows, this is an ancient system. It was prone to problems and to difficulties. Canadians expect systems that are modern and that they can access online. This provides security for benefits that Canadians rely on in a time where security is of paramount importance, and I hope that the member
The Honourable Member for Shefford. Mr. Speaker, yesterday, in response to a question from the Bloc Québécois, the minister accused us of scaremongering about Curam. 85,000 seniors who are having problems accessing old age security benefits, that's scaremongering. What actually really scares people is not the Bloc Québécois' questions, but the costly failures of a malfunctioning computer system. When the CBC headline says, failures in the new federal old age security pension management system are causing concern and anxiety among many seniors, would the minister consider that Radio-Canada is also scaremongering? The Honourable Minister. It is true that's the first thing that people are afraid of?
Need. And Mr. Speaker, let me be clear, that's exactly why we've modernized this system, because a 60-year-old system was guaranteed to fail. In fact, that's what the Auditor General said. So I think we agree it was time to modernize. And 7.7 million Canadians are receiving payments on time, on schedule. The remaining Canadians that have applied by paper largely are getting the help that they need. And Mr. Speaker, we urge all Canadians to apply online for
The Honourable Member for Shefford. Mr. Speaker, worries, anxiety, that's what thousands of seniors are experiencing because of the minister's computer system. And frankly, she seems to be taking this matter very lightly. This government is more willing to defend Curam than to work for seniors. But while old age security payments are not coming in because of Curam's failures, the bills are still coming in. They still have to buy groceries to feed themselves, and they still have to pay the rent on the first of the month. What concrete steps will the minister take to help the 85,000 seniors and counting who are victims of her computer system's malfunctioning? The Honourable Minister.
In fact, Mr. Speaker, the numbers of seniors waiting for their first payment is going down. And I will remind the member opposite that these are very specific cases that are largely paper application. This system is designed to provide the stability that Canadians expect, including Quebecers, when they receive benefits from Canada. More and more people are applying online, Mr. Speaker, and I will just say that it's a very important tool that Canadians expect to have available when it's their turn to apply for CPP and OAS.
The Honourable Member for Cloverdale, Langley City.
Mr. Speaker, when the IRGC shot down Flight PS 752, 55 Canadians were murdered. In the days that followed, I stood with those grieving families in my riding and promised them Canada would be a place of safety, not a place where people connected to that regime could live freely. Yet yesterday, at committee, officials admitted they cannot deport Iranian regime officials already here. They can claim asylum. They say there are no flights and that their identities must remain protected. How is it possible that the victims' families live in fear while members of that regime live safely in our communities?
The Honourable Minister of Public Safety.
Mr. Speaker, we've taken decisive action to ensure the accountability for IRGC officials. First and foremost, we listed the Iranian state as a state sponsor of terrorism, Mr. Speaker. We have sanctioned over 200 individuals. We've listed the IRGC in 2024, and we are expeditiously working on removing those who are ineligible and inadmissible to Canada, Mr. Speaker. We will continue to ensure the safety and security of all Canadians, including Iranian Canadians.
Well done. The Honourable Member for Cloverdale, Langley City.
This threat is no longer distant. It is happening right here in Canada. Last week, 3 synagogues were shot out. Now an Iranian activist has gone missing. Police are investigating it as a homicide while the Iranian community fears Tehran's involvement. Meanwhile, hundreds of people linked to the IRGC are living freely in our country. I stood beside PS 752 families in my riding and promised Canada would stand up to this regime. Instead, this government has allowed its agents to operate on our soil. Why has this minister allowed Canada to become a safe haven for a terrorist regime?
The Honourable Minister of Public Safety.
Mr. Speaker, first and foremost, Canada is leading the fight on ensuring accountability for those impacted by PS 752. We have taken action right at the International Criminal Court, Mr. Speaker, and we continue to work with families and survivors to ensure that they do receive the justice that they seek. Let me just be very clear, Mr. Speaker. Those who are members of the IRGC, who are senior members, are inadmissible to be in Canada, and they will be removed, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Nanaimo, Ladysmith.
Liberals are allowing foreign conflicts to spill onto our streets, Mr. Speaker, and Canadians are paying the price. An Iranian activist is missing, and it looks more and more like Tehran is involved. Meanwhile, hundreds of IRGC agents live in Canada, hanging out in cafes and going to the gym. Yet Canadian officials say they can't deport these terrorists because they can claim asylum, there are no flights to Iran, and their privacy must be protected. Thoughts and prayers are not going to cut it, Mr. Speaker. Why is the immigration minister still failing to protect Canadians, and why does she still have her job?
The Honourable Minister of Public Safety.
Mr. Speaker, let's be very clear, Mr. Speaker. The IRGC was listed as a terrorist entity in 2024. Canada has listed Iran as a state sponsor of terrorism. We have sanctioned over 200 Iranian officials. We are working to ensure that those who are inadmissible in Canada are removed, and we've already started the process. One has already been removed, Mr. Speaker. We have canceled dozens of visas for those who are ineligible to be here. We will continue to ensure the safety and security of Canadians, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Calgary Nose Hill.
Can I just recap what's in the Public Safety Minister's QP binder? He just said, of the 700 Iranian regime officials, human rights abusers, one has been deported. Why hasn't he asked his department officials to at least update the garbage that's in his QP binder?
The Honourable Member used that term once before, and I didn't quite like it, and I do have a responsibility for trying to maintain some decorum. I don't think it's very parliamentary. The Honourable Minister of Public Safety.
Mr. Speaker, let me first of all reject the notion, the 700 number that the party opposite has been using. There are efforts in place as we speak by the Canada Border Service Agency to remove those who are inadmissible to Canada, Mr. Speaker. They have reviewed over 18,000 applications for inadmissibility, Mr. Speaker. They have opened over 170 investigations and have approximately 240 visas that have been cancelled. We have removed individuals who are members of the IRGC. We will continue to go through the process to remove them. Let's be very clear. Those who are ineligible and inadmissible will be...
The Honourable Member for Calgary Nose Hill.
Okay. So he said he's removed one. And now he says, I dispute the 700 number. So is it 1,000? Is it 2,000? However, is it? No. This is serious. We have members of the Persian community that are seeing their businesses shot up. People are living in fear in the street, and the Liberal immigration minister has done nothing to change the law, nothing to keep her officials in line. Why does she still have her job?
The Honourable Minister of Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let's be clear here. This government, in 2024, the former government listed the IRGC as a terrorist entity in Canada. IRGC officials that are found in Canada have had their visas cancelled, they have lost their status, and they are being removed by CBSA. We will continue to do that. Any permit extensions have not been granted. They will be removed. On this side of the House, we will continue to stand with the Iranian people. We will support the CBSA and do everything necessary to protect the safety of Canadians.
The honourable member for Edmonton Riverbend.
Mr. Speaker, men and boys in this country are facing a mental health crisis. 75% of suicides in this country are men. 75% of drug overdoses in this country are men. Men's life expectancy is 4.5 years shorter. 65% of men delay seeking help. Can the Minister of Health confirm that this government is committed to ending the stigma around men's mental health?
Traitor, bro.
L'honorable ministre... Oui, mais on va écouter l'honorable ministre de la Santé.
Yes, let's hear from the Honourable Minister of Health.
I want to thank my colleague from Edmonton Riverbend for his question and welcome him to this side of the House. We need to end stigmas around men's and boys' health. That's why we launched a national conversation on men and boys' health so that we can make a real difference in the health and well-being of men and boys across the country. That will help create stronger families and more thriving communities. We look forward working with all parties to make sure everyone has a voice in this conversation. Thank you.
The honourable member for Lakeland.
Canada can't control global events or leaders, but Liberals control the policies that drive up costs here at home. The Energy Minister brags about pipelines to the U.S., but spins about Canadian pipelines. The facts: 2 export pipelines to Europe and Asia, killed by these Liberals. Bought the costly TMX, which mostly goes to the U.S., without a path for the company to build. No progress on their promised Pacific pipeline, nothing from the Major Projects Office. And the federal industrial carbon tax costs Canadian businesses that the U.S. doesn't have. Why won't the PM repeal his anti-development laws and taxes so Canada can fuel allies abroad and bring affordability home?
The Honourable Minister of Energy and Natural Resources.
Mr. Speaker, I'm not sure what they've been doing, but we've been working with the government of Alberta. We've been working with the government of Alberta to see the Pathways project built. We've been working with the government of Alberta to look at options to the West Coast. We've been looking at with the government of Alberta for new nuclear, for new renewables. They should get on board too.
The honourable member for Lakeland.
Spin, 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 because here's the deal. Last year, the Prime Minister promised a Pacific pipeline, yet keeps all the laws and regs that block building. The Liberals brought in C5 to work around their own red tape. Conservatives to improve and pass it, but no results so far. The feds haven't started their Indigenous consultation. No private sector company will touch a pipeline alone under Liberal laws. 75% of Canadians want pipelines. The world wants Canadian energy, but Canada can't ship it because of these Liberals. So when will the PM get out of the way, scrap his anti-development agenda, and give Canadians certainty and affordability here at home?
The Honourable Minister of Energy and Natural Resources.
Mr. Speaker, I assume the member opposite is then suggesting that the Premier of Alberta get out of the way. I guess she's suggesting that that Minister Jean get out of the way. I guess she's suggesting Minister Neudorf get out of the way because they're all working with us to build Canada. Maybe they should try that too.
The honourable member for Swift Current Grasslands, Kindersley.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister has been in office for a year already, and like a good old Liberal, he has only re-announced projects that were already approved. No new energy projects proposed, let alone built. The Major Projects Office has been reviewing the Kitimat project for 180 days already. Meanwhile, Germany built an entire LNG terminal in only 194 days. Conservatives wanted shovels in the ground this week, and we previously tried to pass the Canadian Sovereignty Act to make us stronger at home and support our allies. But the Liberals voted against that. Why won't they cancel their anti-development policies and get things done?
The Honourable Minister.
Speaker, well, the Conservatives built nothing. Here's what we did. LNG Canada 1, shipping today. Cedar LNG, under development. Wood Fiber LNG, under construction. Tilbury expanding. LNG Canada, ready to go. Silicium's ready to go. We could keep going, Mr. Speaker. We are building. They do nothing.
The Honourable Member for Montmorency-Charlevoix. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Over the last 4 years, we have had 2 wars that plunged the world into a major energy crisis. Our allies are looking for reliable energy partners. Canada has 10% of world oil reserves and huge natural gas, uranium, and hydroelectricity reserves. We ought to be a world energy leader. But the reality is that we don't even have the infrastructure we would need to export our resources to our allies who need them. The Liberals have exceptional powers to sign off on major projects, but to date nothing has happened. So why are the Liberals letting our country have all this potential but not develop it? The Honourable Minister for Canada-US Trade. Mr. Speaker, we agree with our opposition colleague that it's important to build a strong Canadian economy. And the good news is that the Conservative Party was a stakeholder in adopting Bill C-5, which enabled the government to speed up major projects construction, including major energy infrastructure projects, as our colleague just talked about. For example, I just went to Contrecoeur in Montreal. There will be more ports as well. There will be good news in the next few weeks, and I'm looking forward to support from our colleague, the Honourable Member from Montmorency-Charlevoix. Well, apparently there's good news to come, but press releases are not the same thing as an actual project. Germany took only 194 days to build an LNG terminal, but in the same span of time in Canada, all we've produced are announcements. If we took advantage of our resources, we could make people better off and we could invest in the transition to other types of energy, among other things, at a time when the world needs our resources and families are struggling to make ends meet. When will the Liberal government stop just talking? When will it start approving projects, exporting our resources, and making Canadians richer? The Honourable Minister. Well, I don't wish to plagiarize our colleague for finance. We have good news for our colleague. This week, the Prime Minister was in India. We signed a $2.5 billion agreement on energy exports. We are working with the government of Newfoundland and Labrador to approve an energy project off the coast, and we are also approving the Extreme mine for uranium in Saskatchewan. We are hard at work. The Conservatives, all they do is criticize.
Lake West, South Kelowna.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister says Canada should strive to be our own best customer. Well, Conservatives couldn't agree more, and that's why we want a one Canadian economy where a craft brewer in the Maritimes, a distiller in Ontario, or a vintner in the Okanagan can sell to any adult Canadian anywhere in this country. But his Canada Day deadline of last year to fix this has come and gone, leaving beer, wine, and spirits stuck behind trade barriers. Will this government finally live up to its own rhetoric, support our common sense Conservative bill, and allow Canadians to finally be our own best customer?
The Honourable Minister.
Again, Mr. Speaker, I want to thank our colleague for his consistent work in terms of removing barriers to interprovincial trade. As he knows very well, the federal government removed all of our exemptions to free trade in Canada by legislation supported by the Conservatives in June. I know he has, and he should be as pleased as we are, that the government of Ontario and Nova Scotia recently signed an agreement to allow direct-to-consumer sale of alcohol. And I am meeting interprovincial trade ministers later this month and will absolutely go further.
The Honourable Member for Okanagan Lake West, South Kelowna.
Mr. Speaker, producers in my riding find it easier to ship a bottle of wine to London London, England, than to London, Ontario. These trade walls are blocking the growth of producers across this great country. The Prime Minister tells Canadians that we need to focus on the things that we can control. Parliament has control over Canada Post and interprovincial shipping. I invite the Liberals to steal this idea so they could do so today. Will the Prime Minister focus on what we can control, steal my bill, finally tear down these walls for all Canadian consumers and producers, and free the beer?
The Honourable Minister.
Again, Mr. Speaker, our colleague has highlighted consistently one of the important challenges in having free trade across Canada. As he well knows, the regulation of the sale of alcohol is within the hands of provincial and territorial governments. However, his idea of changing Section 19 of the Canada Post Act to incentivize provinces to allow and to cooperate with the Government of Canada is a good one, and I will happily raise it with provincial ministers later this month and look forward to working with him on this important issue.
The Honourable Member for Mission Mapsquee Abbotsford.
Mr. Speaker, despite the Prime Minister promising to eliminate all federal barriers to interprovincial trade by Canada Day 2025, that promise has proven to be an illusion. In many cases, it's still easier for British Columbian distilleries to sell their products to Washington State than to Nova Scotia. Can the Prime Minister provide a specific date when it will be easier for British Columbian distillers to sell in Canada versus the United States?
He's not here.
The Honourable Minister.
Again, Mr. Speaker, I indicated to the colleague that we have called an urgent meeting of interprovincial trade ministers following the Prime Minister's meeting with First Ministers at the end of January. That's happening in a few weeks. We're going to seek to make progress in collaboration with provinces. I would ask the colleague to note that it was Ontario and Nova Scotia, two champions in the removal of interprovincial trade barriers, who signed an agreement to allow direct-to-consumer sales of alcohol. I will happily raise it with provincial ministers and do what's necessary for the Government of Canada to be a partner.
The Honourable Member for Mission Mapsquee Abbotsford.
The problem, Mr. Speaker, is that the Liberal government misled Canadians when they made the promise that interprovincial trade would actually be eliminated in Canada by 2025. The CBC reported in January that interprovincial trade is still like a 9% tariff on the Canadian economy, accounting for $210 billion of lost goods. So I'll ask the question again. Can the Prime Minister provide a specific date, not just when alcohol will be free, but all services and goods will be free to trade in Canada amongst provinces to build our country up?
There you go.
The Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, our colleague, I think, would remember very well the votes that happened at the end of June when we passed Bill C-5, which removed all federal barriers to interprovincial trade in Canada. He's highlighting something with which we agree, the important GDP boost of removing all of these barriers. The vast majority of these barriers have always been in the hands of provinces and territories. We thought it was important for the Government of Canada to eliminate our exceptions to free trade in Canada. We did that, and now we're going to work with the provinces to get the job done.
The Honourable Member for Honoré-Mercier. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Canadians have elected a new government. Yes, a new government with the mandate of building a strong Canada, making the country safer, and developing our international partnerships. The world is changing quickly, and our government is concentrating on what we can control. Can the Minister of National Defence tell the House about the progress in our defence partnerships throughout the world? The Honourable Minister of National Defence. Mr. Speaker, Canada is a Pacific country, and we are proud of broadening our partnership with Australia. Last week, we were in Australia in order to strengthen our relationship and to increase our cooperation in the areas of military exercises and acquisition, including training our forces on the Arctic Over-the-Horizon radar system. Mr. Speaker, we are rapidly developing our defense partnerships throughout the world.
The honourable member for Leeds, Grenville, Thousand Islands.
Canadians have recently learned that the Liberal government provided a $206 million below market rate loan and nearly $150 million in subsidies to a wind farm in Nova Scotia linked closely to former Liberal MPs. Meanwhile, a similar project secured $240 million in private sector funding at no cost to the taxpayer. The difference between the two, of course, is the closeness to the Liberal government. Why did the Liberals provide this sweetheart deal to their well-connected friends at the expense of Canadians?
The Honourable Minister of Housing and Infrastructure.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this project is about clean energy, it's about local jobs and economic growth. This was approved through the independent process at the Canada Infrastructure Bank, led by non-partisan officials. And even, Mr. Speaker, the Progressive Conservative Government of Nova Scotia is backing this project. Supporting it, and it's easy to see why. It's creating clean energy, it's creating good jobs for Nova Scotians and strengthening the local community. Mr. Speaker, it's a great project. Thank you.
The honourable member for Leeds, Grenville, Thousand Islands, Rideau Lakes.
Well, you'll have to excuse me, Speaker, if I don't take these Liberals' word for it. They call themselves a new government, but these are these same Liberals who 10 times have been found to have broken Canada's ethics laws. And they always deny it, and they always defend the indefensible. What we're talking about here is hundreds of millions of dollars going to a sweetheart deal for well-connected Liberal insiders. And the solution is very simple. Instead of just saying, trust us, these Liberals can do the right thing and release to Canadians all of the information about the decision that led them to give this sweetheart deal to these well-connected Liberal insiders.
The Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, again, Nova Scotians need action, and they need clean energy, not political games from the Conservatives here. That's right. They had the support of the Progressive Conservative government in Nova Scotia to advance this project and fund it. Officials here at the Infrastructure Bank have supported the project. Mr. Speaker, these are good jobs, energy reliability, and choice for Nova Scotians. Thank you.
Member for Haldimand, Norfolk.
Liberal insiders connected to former Liberal MPs received a $206 million below market rate loan from the Canada Infrastructure Bank and nearly $150 million in subsidies for a Nova Scotia wind farm project. Canadians are tired of Liberal insiders getting rich off of taxpayer dollars, while millions of Canadians are lined up at food banks every single month. When will the Liberals finally make life more affordable for Canadians instead of lining the pockets of Liberal connected?
The Honourable Minister of Energy.
Mr. Speaker, you know who's tired? You know who's tired of the conspiracy theories? The Conservative Premier of Nova Scotia. The Conservative Premier of Nova Scotia who stood beside us and said this is a great project. This is a project that creates jobs in Nova Scotia. This is a project that brings new energy to Nova Scotia. They should get on board.
The honourable member for Milton East, Halton Hills South.
Mr. Speaker, on December 22nd, Canada submitted its plan for the long-term reform of First Nations Child and Family Services, which has the potential to transform care for our children and to address historic wrongs. Can the Minister of Indigenous Services please speak to the contents of the proposal to the Canadian Human Rights Tribunal?
The Honourable Minister of Indigenous Services.
Mr. Speaker, we've launched a new path forward to long-term reform of child and family services, one that acknowledges regional realities and puts First Nations children and families first. This approach is supported by an ongoing commitment of over $35 billion for a 7-year period and $4.4 billion ongoing afterwards. I want to ensure that children are connected to their families, cultures, and communities. By seeking these regional agreements, we are able to respect the distinct realities of First Nations across the country. We are committed to moving ahead with urgency, care, and responsibility. Thank you.
The Honourable Member for Prince George, Peace River, Northern Rockies.
Mr. Speaker, to the Tumbler Ridge families of Zoe, Tiki, Abel, Ezekiel, Kylie, Shanda, Emmett, and Jennifer, we continue to grieve with you. Thanks to our leader, thanks to the Prime Minister and all the federal leaders for making the trip to Tumbler Ridge to support us. Thanks to all of you who've reached out over these last 4 weeks to give kind notes to me and in some semblance of trying to pass on your peace to me. Thanks to those really, though, around the world who've been praying for the Tumbler Ridge community, who've been praying for Maya and other victims, and who've been praying for me. Jesus has been the light to me in this darkness, as he has been to so many other victims' families at this tragedy. Tumbler Ridge families, though, now are asking about what can be done so this never happens again. So I asked the Prime Minister today, will you commit today to a full public inquiry into the Tumbler Ridge tragedy? Thank you.
The Honourable Minister of Public Safety.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and let me just at the outset extend my deepest condolences to the families and the community of Tumbler Ridge for the deep impact of what's happened in their community. And I want to just acknowledge the incredible leadership of the member opposite, who has tirelessly worked for the last several weeks in supporting the community and ensuring that his community is supported. I've had a number of conversations with him over the last several weeks. And one thing I will say today, and I will commit to, is working with him and working with the community to ensure the right steps are taken. We will work in collaboration with the province of British Columbia. We know that there's many unanswered questions. There's a coroner's inquest that's in progress, as well as an investigation on the internal affairs of policing. But our commitment to the people of Tumbler Ridge is clear, Mr. Speaker. We will get and seek the answers that they demand. Thank you.
The Honourable Member for Vancouver Kingsway.
Mr. Speaker, New Democrats' hearts also go out to all of the community in Tumbler Ridge. Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister told the world in Davos that Canada will be principled in our commitment to the prohibition of the use of force, except when consistent with the UN Charter. The attack on Iran by the US and Israel clearly violates the UN Charter, as the Prime Minister himself has admitted. Yet, he supports it. Will the Prime Minister explain to Canadians why he betrayed his commitment and now supports a war he knows is illegal?
The Honourable Minister of Foreign Affairs.
Mr. Speaker, we support Iran from never obtaining a nuclear weapon. That has been the policy position of successive governments of Canada. Iran must never have nuclear capacity. The support is not a blank check. Canada reaffirms that international law binds all parties. Canada is a country of international law, and all actors, including the United States and Israel, must respect the rules of international engagements. These are established international processes.
The Honourable Member for Rosemont-la-Petite-Patrie. Well, there's a word for that, Mr. Speaker: hypocrisy. The Liberals like to say that we should spend less and invest more. It sounds great, but it's a hollow slogan. In fact, these cuts are hurting people and often show a total lack of vision. In Quebec City, the Liberals have decided to close the Agricultural Research and Development Centre. We should be protecting our food security, increasing our productivity, and diminishing our environmental impact. This decision means that the government is shooting itself in the foot. Why is it losing that expertise and give up on research that is crucial for our future?
Agri-food.
Mr. Speaker,
Speaker, as the honourable member said, this is a difficult situation that we find ourselves in, of lack of investment over a number of years through many governments, Mr. Speaker, maintaining our presence in every province, streamlining research and development, building a more collaborative science system that supports producers and strengthens our competitiveness is what this government's going to do. We are not going to put ourselves at a global uncompetitive level at the national level or international level. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
That concludes question period. We're ready to, in a moment.
Okay. So we're covering committee starting in 16 minutes. I've put the link in chat, but I'll put it in there again. If you don't want to join us for committee, thanks for tuning in, and we'll be live again tomorrow at the same time for question period, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And yeah, hopefully I'll see you guys in committee. Thank you so much, Gordon, for gifting 10 memberships. I really appreciate you. And thank you, Wee Cookie, for the super chat. And we will see you guys shortly. I'll put the link in one more time. And see you guys. See you soon.